All right. Hope you're doing well. It is Thursday morning, and no office today. No, I'm out of the office, and unfortunately, but I didn't want to leave you out in the cold. Is it cold? I haven't actually ventured outdoors, so it may be cold, but I don't know. I had to stay home because I have a kid who is sick, so I stayed home for the sick kid, and as a result. I'm actually not working, but I am here for you because rain or shine, I like to be on time. I kind of rhymed. I like to be on online for you. So if you have questions, this is where you can ask them. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. Throw us a question, use the Q&A functionality, and we'll get to your questions and we'll answer them. And that's what we do. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and I go live on social media to answer your traffic and police questions. I got to push this computer back a little bit. Yeah, it's the thing that I do. And I love doing it. Lots of fun. We'll do this for an hour, and then I will go see if the sniffles have subsided. If we need Tylenol being provided, see what the dad duties are after the live. Right now, we're happy. The kid is chilling out. Big Jeff Fresh with a good morning. Good morning, Jeff. Let's see what we have in the Q&A. If you are watching, we just let you know we are currently broadcasting on TikTok, of course. We are also, of course, on Instagram Live, and we're on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook. Everywhere that you need to be. This yo-yo It says, "Can we laugh at your sick child?" That really is a weird thing to say to somebody. Let's see here. What do we have here? Silliness. So freak. I don't know who that is. Let's see here. We got questions. Are subwoofers illegal in cars? No. Why would they be illegal in cars? Playing them really loud would be unnecessary noise. That would be an offense under the Highway Traffic Act. So that could be a problem, but that's not something. Just having them isn't illegal. For the folks that are watching on Instagram, please let me know if the audio is okay. I need to know because I can adjust it, I can tweak it, I can make it louder, I can leave it alone. I don't want to make it too loud. Do I have a way of checking it? Maybe I do. Let me know if it's okay. In any case, we're going to move on to other questions. Okay. What are the questions? What kind of questions have we got? My microphone is resting on my iPad. So that means I can't actually check it because I'm utilizing every phone I have. Oh, hang on. Can I reach this? Hang on. There we go. Moving the mics around. I'll go on and see for myself if the audio is okay. Holiday 55, how you doing? Is the audio okay? Let me know. I'm making crinkly sounds. Hold on a second here. If I go on and change this to that. No, it's not even set up in a new account. Okay. I don't want to mess around. Please let me know if the audio is okay on Instagram. I need someone to voice out and say, or text out and say, it's okay. All right. Too loud, too quiet. Nick Hill says hello. All good here. Awesome. Thank you, Holiday P. It's Holiday with P55. Let's see here. What is this? If you stop a car and police officer yelling at me, I don't know what you're asking me. That's an incomplete question. And user says, I hope your child gets well soon. Thank you very much. She is the cutest sick person ever. Even, some kids get cuter when they get sniffles. This is one of those kids. Okay. What is this? Is it illegal to give rides for cash in my car? Well, if you're doing it as an Uber, you can do it. You need to be appropriately insured to do it. But if you just give rides for cash in your car, most insurance policies are void if you do that. So you need to have an appropriate insurance policy. Is it specifically illegal if you're not operating as a public transportation vehicle? I can't think of the word for it. I don't know, not taxi, ride share, whatever it calls under, but just charging people for money. Yeah, I believe it's against law. Why is everybody in Ontario sick? It's a good question. I got sick a couple of weeks when I was in Ottawa. The week before I went to Ottawa, I wasn't feeling well, and then I felt better, and I just had a cough that was nagging. Speaking of cough, I didn't bring any water. Do I have water here? Hang on a second. Slide over here. I do. I have a case of water here. Boy, that's good planning. Gotta put these cans back on. Here we go. All right. So yeah, apparently everybody is sick. A lot of people are getting sick. It's partially school and bugs going around. Uh, okay. How many user accounts do you have? User 7781396 blah blah blah. Same questions from when you had a different name. Can you talk about the pullover law, the slow down pullover law? Yeah, I alluded to it or mentioned it yesterday on the Jerry Agar show. Essentially, when you see police, fire, ambulance, or tow trucks working on the road, you need to slow down and move over. It's to protect the people that are working on the road, whether they're emergency services or tow truck operators who are doing the best they can to get people off the road and make the traffic clear. You need to slow down and move over. You have to allow them to be safe on the road. And if you don't, you can be charged. I think it's $455. Ah. Okay. The person who talks about pickles has a roughly 20 accounts, so they control and they come back in with different accounts. Diabolical. Okay. Uh, are there any updates on last Amber Alert? No, I was not on duty when it happened. I don't think it's this jurisdiction. I don't think it's a Toronto call. But also, I've not been into work since then. Okay, just for the folks who are asking if they can jump into the live, not taking any guests. And actually, I'm not set up to be able to hear you because of the way I'm configured, because I'm currently on so many different platforms. I've got a Focusrite that's bringing audio into my Mac. I've got that output going also into TikTok. By the way, TikTok, how's the audio? Just let me know in the chat if the audio is good. I think I can do minor adjustment for you. Oh, actually, I just realized I'm playing with the audio for TikTok, asking Instagram if it's okay, and it's actually a different. I've got an iRig Pre that's running the sound for the Instagram. Then I have the Saramonic Smart Rig running for. Thank you very much. Was it Trucker Guy 76? Appreciate it. So I've got audio going through the Saramonic from the Focusrite. I've got a whole bunch of wires here to make it work to so many different platforms. And I've managed to do it with only 2 microphones. So I've got the SM7B that's running on YouTube and all that jazz. And then I have it also feeding the TikTok. And then I have a blue microphone that is running on the Instagram Live. If you've got questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A. We're going to try and get to everybody. We're going to go as fast as we can through as many. Please don't ask questions multiple times or spam. Just makes it more difficult to get through. And yeah, we're going to get through it. Timothy White asks from YouTube, how come I have to pay $281 to get my driver's license back? It's called a reinstatement fee. If you lost your license, if you got a suspension, they charge you a fee. It really doesn't pay to get a suspension. You should avoid it. And the way to avoid it is to avoid getting tickets or suspensions or breaking the rules that leads to those things. It's just, I know it sounds, it's not advice you want to hear after the fact, but it is the best advice. Okay. We have, what is this? I see a lot of scam text messages today. Yeah, we got a lot of spam today. If someone remove a muffler off the car, again, Samir, I think you asked a question earlier. It's an incomplete question. What is it that you want to know? Like if someone steals your muffler, are you responsible for fixing your muffler? Yes, because driving your car, it must have a muffler if it was manufactured during such time that the law was requiring you to have a muffler. Driving with no muffler is a ticket, incomplete or improper exhaust system. You have to have a muffler. You have to have a resonator. So running straight pipe's illegal. You have to have a catalytic converter. It's just things you got to have. Someone takes it off, you got to go buy a new one. Is a cop car tuned? Are they souped up to go faster so that we can catch the folks that are violating the law? They're heavy duty. They have better coolant systems and suspension, but I don't believe that they're any faster than anything else. Okay. Penalties for not using the left lane for passing. Oh, this is a fantastic argument. We had a great discussion yesterday during live because I disagree with what Kerry Schmidt says from the OPP, and then Sergeant Campbell agreed to some degree with what Sergeant Schmidt was saying, and then we had this big long conversation. And you know what? We're going to keep having the conversation, but essentially, it's not illegal to do the speed limit in the left lane, as far as I'm concerned, because the speed limit is the fastest you're legally permitted to go anywhere, unless you're police, fire, ambulance, who are allowed to go beyond it. So if you're going to be in the left lane doing the speed limit, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. However, there's some law that says you have to be, slower traffic has to move right. And if that's the case, that's if there's signs present. Then, if you're slower than people who are exceeding the speed limit, should you move out of their way? I would argue that speed that they don't count, but maybe they do. So it's an ongoing discussion. I look forward to. We should do like a whole podcast series about challenging or discussing laws. Okay. Let's see here. We've got. We're going through somebody. It's like all 20 of his accounts because he keeps every time I mute him, he goes and gets a new one. What did you get at the bar burrito 2 days ago? Ah, you were there. Right on. I got a burrito bowl with no rice and very few beans. Why don't you say hello if you were there, Swaggy? That's awesome. I went for dinner yesterday, and it was a meeting, and I think I'm like undercover. Nobody knows me, and of course everyone recognized me. And then a number of people approached that I watch you, and they express their appreciation for the stuff we do here on Ask a Traffic Cop. By the way, this is Ask a Traffic Cop. It's that place you go to ask questions from a traffic cop. I'm that traffic cop. My name is Sean Shapiro. I work for the Toronto Police Service, specifically assigned to Traffic Services, which is a citywide unit where we talk about traffic and enforce traffic laws and investigate traffic collisions. And we have all sorts of specialty units, all related to traffic. I know it's a big shock. We call ourselves traffic, and we do traffic stuff. I don't know if anyone would have assumed that just by hearing our name. Is it allowed to vape while driving? Is it allowed to vape driving? Vape driving. So vaping or smoking, it's the same thing. As long as you don't have children under the age of 16 in the vehicle, then you can vape as long as there is nothing illegal or prohibited in the vape juice. It's weird calling it vape juice, but that's apparently what it's called. If you have a if there was marijuana or THC or some kind of hallucinogenic or any kind of drug inside the vape juice, obviously not. It's prohibited. Can you vape alcohol? That would be weird. Okay. Is ELD an electronic driver's license? Is that what you're asking? I don't know. I'm not familiar with ELD as an acronym, and I'm familiar with many acronyms. ELD. I'm assuming you're talking about electronic license things. Let's do a little search. Thankful I have many computers and devices in front of me. ELD. What does it stand for? ELD, come on. Logging device. Oh, I have no idea. So I didn't know that acronym. Now I do, but I'm not familiar with any electronic tracking device or electronic logging devices. I would love to know more about it, so I'll have to do some research. A question, someone asked me, are you racist? Not saying you are. No, I'm not racist. I don't believe myself to be racist. I don't think I fit into that category of someone who hates other people based on things. There are people I don't like, and they're individuals. Like Bob is I was going to say a word. Bob is not a nice guy, so I don't like Bob. But it's because Bob's not a nice guy that I don't like Bob. It's not because Bob belongs to any particular group. This whole racism thing is it's unfortunate there are people who hate based on whether it be skin color or religion or whatever the case may be. We have some bad people out there, and we have bad people in all sectors of society. But I'm not one of them. Okay. What is this? How to prepare for written exams for police book. You know what? It's such a diverse set of testing. There's no single how to get ready for this. Essentially, study grade 7 and 8 stuff. I mean, like, to get fast, you want to get basic math down pat so you can just get through it. Because speed is a factor when you're writing these tests. You have a lot of stuff to cover. You can't dwell on questions. So practicing. And there's a site called Police Prep. I used policeprep.com. That's not an endorsement. Like, I'm not advertising them. It just happens to be what I use. They also had a book that I bought at Indigo or Chapters or whatever. I don't even know if they're in business anymore. And yeah, that's it. That's what I did. A lot of practice. I went to a math tutor, because my math skills were not magical. It had been a long time since I'd been out of school. So I went to and had a tutor teach me like tips and tricks to get through. He was like a Russian engineer it was tutoring. Amazing place. Can cadets speed when their blue-red lights are on? Well, cadets are cadets in training, and cadets aren't actually on the road. They're at the police college. So, no, they're not sworn officers. I don't think they have any special privileges. But they wouldn't be speeding because they're not on the road. They're at the police college. And we have a track at the police college, and if they're speeding there. Let's see here. What happens if you, I assume you didn't mean feel your G test. I think you mean fail your G test. What's the answer to that question? Well, if you fail, you take it again. Another day, another time. I don't know how long, if you have to wait a while, but don't give up. Just practice more and come back and do it again. And if you haven't taken professional driving instruction, maybe that's a time to invest in it, because whatever you are lacking in the um, department of knowledge when it comes to driving, maybe an instructor could help you out. Thoughts on gun safety? Would you change anything? Um, well, it depends. Are we talking about legal gun owners? They have to take courses before they get firearms. They're familiar with gun safety. They know how to storage things. But if you're talking about gun safety with criminals, I like there isn't such thing as gun safety with criminals. They don't comply with any rules or laws. So I don't know where you're going with this. Or I think I know where you're going with it, but I'd be, of course, be speculating. Stunt driving 40 over must equal, what is this? Stunt driving equals 40 over must equal conviction and fine. Stunt driving for 40 over, if you were in a zone that was under 80 kilometers an hour, that's when 40 would be. Because if it was over 80K on the speed limit was 80K and above, then it would be 50 over to get stunt. But stunt driving could be many different things, not just speed. But what exactly is the question? Do you mean that does it have to equal a conviction and fine? Like if you're found guilty, if you don't find a technicality to get you out, which a lot of people seem to do, then yeah, it would involve a conviction and a fine and a suspension. It's a $2,000 to $10,000 price tag for a first time conviction. It is a 1 to 3 year driving suspension upon conviction, and what else? Up to 6 months in jail, isn't it? Am I making that up? Boy, oh boy, I love it when I can't remember the details, which goes with which box. I thought there was is it up to 6 months? No, insurance includes 1 to 6 months. Yeah, okay. Question, I can't even remember, and I can't look it up because the phone that I have my Magic app on for looking things up in a quick and orderly way is, it's occupied. It's occupied. Was this a green screen all the time? No. This is when I am in my home office and I have a green screen behind me because otherwise I have stuff behind me. But no, it's a real studio. Will you be at the TPC on the 26th? Toronto Police College. Thank you for bringing it up, by the way. Toronto Police College is holding an Ontario Police Services Recruitment Fair. And what does that mean? It means police services from across Ontario will be attending the Police College on November 26th, and they are looking to hire people. They're looking to answer questions for people who are interested in becoming police officers. Lots of people, lots of police services, lots of recruiters are going to be there. So it is the place to be if you are interested in becoming a police officer. So I would strongly suggest that you make some time, cut it out of your schedule. Go onto our website, which is www.tps.ca/careers. Once again, I fumbled, www.tps.ca/careers. And on that website, you can go and register for your spot. You can also send emails to police recruiters at torontopolice.on.ca. And on there, you can actually book, and you have to pre-register to go to this. And as far as I know, it's hundreds of people who are already going, if not more by now, because we've been talking it up. Tell your friends. But will I be there? I hope to drop by. I don't think I can spend it. Saturday is it is Saturday, right? Yeah, Saturdays are really tough for me. It's a very big family day for me. Lots of appointments, lots of running around. But I hope to drop by. And if you're there, I look forward to saying hello to you. Why? So many people want to know about cadets speeding with lights on. Where do you even see cadets? We don't have cadets on the road. Those are students at a college. Oh, Neon's here. Good blessed morning, everyone, from Neon. Always with goodwill for all. Thanks, Neon. Long time no talk. I received a lot of scam text messages today. I haven't received any, so maybe you're just lucky. But I don't. The big thing, if you get a message from someone you don't know and it comes with a link saying that they have money for you and it's free, that's a pretty good indicator that that's not a text you want to click on. Just saying. Whoa. Why do I keep getting away with speeding? Now, this person is trying to just be a pain, but at the same time, it's a good conversation starter. So I thank you for it. The reason most people get away with speeding is because there's not enough police on the road. We need more. We need more enforcement. We need more people. And comments like this, I get to show to the chief and say, see, we need more people. But he already knows that. I'm just poking fun at you. But the deal is that we do a tremendous amount of speed enforcement, and there are people being charged for it every day. We've written 160,000 over, actually. That was a couple of weeks ago that I got that stat. About 160,000 tickets have been issued, and the vast majority of that is for speeding. So we do a lot of speed enforcement, and we'll do more of it. So if you haven't received a ticket, you're lucky or you're due, but you're probably going to get your ticket soon. It's just a matter of time. Are police scanners illegal to use? Scanners are a radio device that scans police radios. Now, we have gone from simplex, regular push to talk, one channel in both directions, to something what was called a trunked system. That was quite a long time ago. And now we have an encrypted trunked system. So actually, I wonder if it's still trunked. It may just be encrypted and totally digital. Regardless, scanners for us don't work unless you were to have one that would be illegal, because they're all protected. But yeah, there are police services that are still trunked, and you can get trunking scanners. It's not illegal to listen, but it depends. Like you really can't get to us. And if you can, please let me know so I can find out how to stop it, because you shouldn't be able to hear us. How do you become a police officer in Ontario? First off, you apply, and I was just talking about it moments ago, and maybe you missed it, or maybe this came in before, but November 26th, 2022, at the Toronto Police College, we have an Ontario Police Service recruitment fair. Services from all over Ontario are obviously coming to see people who want to become police officers. Lots of people, time to hire. That means it's the best time to apply. And you need to register in advance. Go to www.tps.ca/careers to register. Yeah, it's a good thing to do. Why is Toronto crime getting worse? I couldn't tell you what the issues are that crime, but if there's crime that's getting worse, look at the root cause. Someone says my car is only goes 180 kilometers per hour, not more, not less. Peter Gallagher wants to know: do I agree with officers reducing speed tickets or giving lesser fines for offenses? Have you done it? I have reduced tickets, and you know what really bothers me? If I reduce a ticket roadside, and then someone goes to court to fight it, even though I gave them a break, that bothers me. If you're going to fight it from the original amount, and we have the ability to raise it back to the original amount. We can request that the courts do that. And if someone were to fight a ticket that I had previously reduced roadside, I would ask the Crown to put it to its original. I think that should be the process. Here's I choose to fight it full price. I choose to take my lumps with a thank you, and appreciate the discount essentially provided by the officer to try and reduce court time and the money that's spent on people wasting court's time just to defend anything. Well, then I think that you can get. I think you should get a discount if you pay it right away, and I think you should go full price if you don't. But at the end of the day, I really stopped giving discounts. I stopped giving reduced tickets. The way I worked it back in the day, because I haven't been on the road for quite some time, is if you were under 20, I'd probably drop it to 15, and that way you save demerit points. And if you were over 20, you got the full ticket. That's basically, before I got off the road, that was pretty much where I was at. And that was just a me thing. Everybody has their own thing. I will say this, that I do think tickets are important. I do think that tickets and points going on your demerits count are important, because of essentially people who drive poorly they're creating an unsafe place for people to be on the road. They're making the road unsafe for people, whether they walk, ride, or drive. And I think that's bad. So I want to prevent them from driving, and I give them tickets for that purpose. Donnie says, can you run my name? Can I? It's possible. Will I? No. Unless I'm investigating you, which I'm not. Where do I live? I live in Ontario, but unfortunately, not my dance card is full. I'm not hanging out. Put it on a green. Actually, yes, putting on a green shirt would look interesting, wouldn't it, with the green screen? Well, actually, no, it wouldn't look like anything really on TikTok, because I'm not using green screen mode. It's an actual green screen behind me. If you're looking at this on YouTube, you'll see that I'm sitting in front of a swimming pool office with nice architecture, far nicer than I actually have. By the way, you may not know, I don't have Volley open. Hang on a second. Thanks for bringing that up. Vehicle Valley, Jace wants to know. And you know what? I forgot all about Volley. Let me. Do I even have Volley on my volley. Opening volley. Wasn't really prepared for update required. Okay, gotta download the new version. See, look at this. I'm way out of tune. Da, 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 da. So he asked about volley. We'll come back to volley in a second. How much does your insurance go up when you're 15 over? It's up to the insurance company. Your risk is determined based on your for tickets that have no points. And here's something that most people don't understand. They think that no points means their insurance will not be affected, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. Minor tickets, when you accumulate them, still will eventually impact your insurance. So maybe you get a free pass with one or two, but you're showing yourself to be someone who doesn't follow the laws, and you are then categorized as somebody who is higher risk than others. So if you want to ensure you don't have insurance rates that go up, you should really just not break the law. Jay says, TikTok sounds good to me. Asked how I'm doing, and I'm doing great. Thank you. And if people are wondering, what is this volley thing that we're talking about? Volley is something you can go to and participate in any time of the day or night. Not everybody's listening at night, but you can post messages there. It is a community. Right now with 123 members, you can get to it by going to the link in the bio, which takes you to a link tree that has a bar that says, ask me a question on volley. We have a Q&A, we have a general discussion, we have random stuff, place where you can introduce yourself to the community, and you can just have dialogue and chat about stuff and things. But for the most part, it's people who want to make sure they get their questions answered, and not just during the live. They can leave a message and we'll get back to them. I have connections at an airline. I don't know what this is. Someone wants to know what my opinion is on conditional liberation. When you say liberation, I mean there's different conditional discharges and conditional releases and things like that. I don't know exactly what you're getting at with your liberation statement, so maybe you can clarify. And we already covered this one about the insurance going up, so I'll remove that. Aftermarket exhausts, question mark. Is it a thing? You can have aftermarket as long as they conform with the requirements under the HTA and the regulations. If they make unnecessary noise, which so many of them do, then they're illegal, and you could be getting an improper muffler charge or an unnecessary noise charge. Yeah. If it's your first ticket, does your insurance still go up? That is up to your insurance company. They could, absolutely. If Loblaws driverless trucks accident, whose fault? Fantastic question. So, here's the deal. The vehicle that was performing the movement that created the collision would be responsible. But I also know that they have to have major liability. I think if they have less than 12 passengers, it's $3 or $5 million coverage, and then it goes up to 5 or 7. There's two stages: one for a certain number of passengers, and a second for. And I'm assuming the fault is probably going to lay with it if it can be proved that the other driver didn't do anything wrong. But how do you prove that? So it's going to be very interesting. And I don't have a very good answer for you. However, I'm going to be meeting with the folks at Loblaws next week, so I'm going to talk to them about that. So let's talk about it after I talk to them. We'll have more information because it's all new and they're in a test phase. The chances are the computer-driven vehicle was doing the right thing, the lawful thing, and the person they were involved in a collision with, it's going to be likely the one at fault. Unless, and I'm assuming another assumption is that there's going to be tracking of all data surrounding what the Loblaws or GATIC operated vehicle or autonomous vehicle in general is doing. So chances are they'd be able to prove that they did nothing wrong. And if they could prove it, then it would be the other person's fault. And if they couldn't prove it, which led the police to believe that they were at fault, and then they're going to have problems. But it's a very interesting question. There's so many places to go with this, but it's very interesting. So thank you for bringing it up, Daily Dose. What is the law for picking up a hitchhiker? I don't actually know. I've never really spent time with it. It's a bad idea, in my opinion, for your safety. It's a bad idea for hitchhikers' safety. But the law for it, I'd have to Google it because let's see, is hitchhiking, I don't even know, hitchhiking illegal Canada? You'd think it would be. Pedestrians are not permitted on a scheduled highway, making hitchhiking illegal. Okay. That's in British Columbia. Let's say Ontario. Ah, the Peterborough Examiner had an article about this. It's illegal to thumb a ride in Ontario. The OPP issued a reminder on Thursday that Section 177(1) of the Highway Traffic Act states that no person while on a roadway shall solicit a ride from the driver of a motor vehicle other than a public passenger conveyance, i.e., taxi or bus. So there you go. It's illegal. And I've never really paid attention to it because I don't see it. That's not an in thing to do. That's not something people for like 40 years I've been hearing people don't hitchhike. It's dangerous. You can get killed. Someone will abduct you. See, is panhandling illegal if you're doing relate? So there's a thing called Safe Streets Act, Safe Streets Act, Safe Streets Ontario. Maybe just I can't remember. But if you do it in relation to like close to a bank machine, close to an intersection, close to a car, yeah, it is illegal. If you're just doing it elsewhere, I don't know. Again, not my area of specialty. Can you drive a car if you're not under the insurance? If the vehicle in Ontario is insured, then you can operate the vehicle if you're licensed to drive that class of vehicle. You don't have to be specifically listed in the policy as long as the policy holder knows that there's no restrictions, because they can have a policy that says only the named driver can drive this car. Rental companies do it. They can also exclude specific people. Like if you live with someone who has a horrible record and they've got like 37 suspensions, which would never really happen, but because I think after 5, anyway, there's implications to having achieved certain number of horrible acts on your license until they just take it away. And yeah, if you lived with someone, it might say specifically Bob can't drive this car ever. Can you park on the wrong side of a residential street? No, not unless you have an accessibility permit. That's funny. It's the second time someone's asked it. It was asked yesterday as well. How much is an M1 license? I don't know. I had my 70-day, was it 70-day, 90-day? Was it even called an M1 back then? I had my learners, and I don't remember how much it was. But when you get your learners here, it's good for 5 years. No, it's not. It's still good for 90 days. I'm speaking out of my rear. It's 5 years for your G1. And I had an interesting discussion about this. So let's say you have your G1 and you wait till 364 days to get your G2. When you do that test, you'll have to pay for another 5 years, but you'd get your G2 extended. And if you were to have your G2 and not take your G, what happens at the end of your 5 years? Well, you need to renew, and you need to take your G2 test again. Not your G2 exit, but your G1 to G2 test. So it's interesting. But how much is the M1? I don't actually know. Go to drivetest.ca. Trucks driving on a passing lane should be ticketed. Why? If they're doing the speed limit, why? I asked the question because what right would you have to pass them if they were doing the legal limit? So if they're in the passing lane and they're doing the legal limit, they're doing the maximum permitted on that road. So no one should be passing them, and thus they should be not blocking anybody, because no one would be going faster, because that would be illegal. And I love this because people get really upset. But no, unless it's a sign erected on the highway that says slower moving traffic, pull right, and even then the legal limit is a speed limit, so that's not slow, that's the legal limit. I have a lot of issues with the concept of getting out of the way so people can break the law. I think we should have limiters on vehicles so you can't break the law. That would just make people's minds explode. However, what gives anyone the right to speed and put people's lives at risk? That's the question I need to understand, or at least have other people explain to me in such a way that I can justify why they are so important that they should go faster than everybody else when we know that speed kills. Hey, I'm just thinking of becoming a cop. Any advice? Continuous education, continuous employment, continuous volunteering, good driving record, fitness, and physical fitness. Those are the things you should concentrate on. Be a good human. Those are the big things. And then research the service that you are interested in becoming a member of. And if you don't already know about this, because you may not have been here 10 minutes ago when I was talking about it, we are doing a Ontario Police Service recruitment fair we're not doing it. We're hosting it. It's going to be the Toronto Police College on November 26th. You need to register in advance. www.tps.ca/careers for information, and that's where the actual link is to register. Do that before, because if you don't do it, I think the cutoff is the 16th. So you have a few days. It's the 10th today. Burnouts or donuts on my own property, is it legal? No. Under the Highway Traffic according to the Highway Traffic Act, as of September 12th, 2021, private property is now a place where you can be charged for stunt driving, and burnouts and donuts are stunt driving. Are funeral escorts common in Canada like the US? They used to be. I shouldn't say, I can't speak for Canada. They used to be common in Toronto. We used to do that a lot. It is less the case now. Generally speaking, that's only for very special events. I don't think we do funeral escorts as a paid duty option anymore. And there's no private company. I know the States, they allow private companies to do it. They don't do that here. Jace disagrees with limiters. Why does Jace disagree? I just realized I get notifications popping up everywhere. So Jace comes in on Volley. Volley's that great place that gets you to, generally speaking, more. I personally disagree with regulating limiters due to many different speed limits everywhere, as well as someone like me who takes their streetcar to the track. Well, a limiter, in my version of the limiter, and I appreciate what you're saying, Jace, would change based on the road you're on. Why wouldn't it go to 60 on a 60 zone, and 100 on a 100 zone, and 110 on a... We have the technology. If that's what I would put as a limiter. And then when you're on a track, you should be able to be on a track and be in track mode, just like you could now. And then that limiter would disable because you're not on the road. Now, of course, the problem with limiters is, and that would change, would also mean that somebody would find a way to hack them. But I think that the majority of people would benefit from having the control taken away from them, from being idiots and making the roads unsafe. We see too many people die and get injured because of the stupid choices that some drivers choose to make, and they choose to make it. That's why we have something called the Vision Zero Enforcement Team, not because specifically of people who choose to drive in a stunt way, but people who choose to engage in other things. And when I actually figure myself out here, I'm going to pull up the spiel about where the Vision Zero Enforcement Team is today. But let's talk about it. No, that's what I want. I want this. Here we go. Okay. Interesting. Can I refresh? There we go. All right. Vision Zero Enforcement Team is a dedicated group of officers who go out and try and change driver behavior every single day. They do it by issuing tickets for the Big Four. They are looking for people who are choosing to speed, drive aggressively, drive distracted, or drive impaired. And today they are located or focused on policing in 12 Division and 43 Division. That's Weston, Mount Dennis, Rockcliffe Smythe, Bendale, Woburn, Highland Creek, West Hill, Guildwood. That's not the totality. It's not every place that they're going to be. It's just some of the hashtags that people recognize as being inside of those divisions, because divisions don't mean anything to everyone. They mean some things to some people. We want to try and convey a picture of where people actually are going to be seeing Vision Zero Enforcement Team, or not seeing for that matter, because they're not marked cars. They're pickup trucks and SUVs and family vehicles, and they're watching you. So be careful what you do. And they will not hand out hugs or warnings. They will hand out tickets, and tickets alone, because they are there to make change and not educate through anything other than enforcement. I'm the education guy. I'm the one telling you, don't do the wrong thing or you might get a ticket. They give you the ticket and hope that you learn because you didn't already learn before. And you know what? The chance is not after you do and break the law. The chance was when you got educated and learned what the law was, which is what you had to do to get a driver's license. All right. Question from Chase. Hey, Chase, what's going on? Chase is coming in from YouTube. When do you think you'll be fully recovered, and will you be on the road after? And you know what? I thought I would have been fully recovered weeks or months after the collision. It's been years now. I don't know. I don't want to lose faith in the belief that it's going to get better and I will get on the road. But I'm not making any plans. Taking it one day at a time, slowly but surely, I am getting better a little bit more every day. But thank you for asking. Big Jeff Fresh says, just saying, if there's going to be a self-adjusting limiter, they might as well just allow fully autonomous self-driving vehicles, as the GPS system would be able to handle it. And you make a good point, Jeff. There's going to be a time when everything does go primarily self-driving. And if 99% of the cars, or even 80% of the cars are autonomous, they're all going to be following the law, which means you're going to be seeing slower traffic, safer traffic. And then you're going to have one bozo who doesn't have a self-driving car who's going to be weaving through trying to get somewhere 2 minutes earlier than everybody else. And that's the biggest annoyance. Most of the people who are trying to speed to get to where they're going on time don't realize that they're not getting there any faster. Or if they are, it's such a minimal benefit that it's not a benefit at all, because they may be, they're burning out their gas, their brakes, they're accelerating, decelerating, and running the risk of collision. But aside, they make themselves happy by doing it, and then we go and give them tickets to take that happiness away. Okay. I got a message saying things can't be answered after 5 minutes. How much does the MTO retest? How much the MTO test reduces your insurance? I don't know what you mean. So MTO testing doesn't reduce your insurance that I'm aware of. That's just how you get your license. Do you mean how much does taking an approved course for driving reduce your insurance? Because taking an approved course would reduce your insurance. I believe it gives you the equivalent discount of 1 year driving experience. So whatever they would calculate as it, but there's no specific dollar amount. Lose Canada license, can you drive with foreign license? No, there's a charge for driving while under suspension. If you're driving on a license of another jurisdiction while you're under suspension in Ontario, is a real thing. So if you're suspended here, you are suspended here on all of your licenses. And in truth, you can't carry more than one license. Oh, okay. We got some math here. What's the math that Jace has? He says he's done the math. And he says, I've done the math. Over an 80-kilometer distance, going 20 kilometers faster saves no more than 6 minutes. That's staggering. How badly does someone need to save 6 minutes? Just get up earlier, brush your teeth, lay your clothes out the night before. Brush your teeth the morning of, but lay your clothes out the day before. And when you hit the road, you're actually stress-free. It's a great thing. I do it all the time. Driving stress-free. And when I'm stressed out, I acknowledge that you add a level of yuck to your drive. I like to relax on the drive. I like to get to work early. I don't want to have to run in to punch in. I like to get there and know that I'm early and I can make a coffee and I can chill out and I still got 5 minutes till I have to pretend to be concerned. I'm already working. I work 24/7. I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. There's no stress. If you add stress by sleeping in, by staying up late, by trying to squeeze a couple of minutes in, you're just setting yourself up for an unhappy day. Fan Cargo says, do you ever want to go back on the street? So it's a funny question. It's not a funny question. It's a funny situation. I love what I'm doing right now. I also loved being on the street. I love going out and seeing the sun and meeting new people and stopping people from breaking the law. And I'd love to do some kind of hybrid where I still do what I'm doing, but I also go on the road. That would be my ideal situation. Is it possible? I have no idea. But if I were to never do anything else, if I was doing this for the rest of my career, I would not be unhappy. But I every day, and when my buddies are out there helping, or when I pass by a collision scene, and I'm on duty, but I can't go out and get involved because I'm on restrictions, I miss it. I want to help people. That's why I signed up for this job. And now every time I make this argument to my command team, to the people who are way above me in rank, they say, but you are helping people, and I acknowledge that I'm helping people, but there's a certain level of actually being there in the thick, actually being there. Yeah, I missed elements of it, but I don't want to abandon you, which is why when I'm home, because my kid's sick, I'm still here talking to you, even though I'm not working. Let's see here. Oh, David G. Turner says there should be limiters just like trucks. The problem here is the problem. There are always going to be people who violate and modify. But I agree with you. I think limiters would just take the guesswork out of it, and we could focus on other things. If we knew speeding wasn't the issue, then we would stop enforcing speeding because no one would be speeding, and then we would just deal with bigger stuff. Because there are bigger things, but speeding is incredibly relevant because people are doing it. People are dying on our roads. Is it okay to pass vehicle moving slower than speed limit on a solid yellow? Solid yellows are suggesting that it's a really bad idea for you to pass there because of visibility, whether it be a crest of grade or a corner. You have reduced visibility means you have a higher than average chance of collision. That said, you can't be charged for passing on that yellow, not for crossing the yellow. You could be, if it's an unsafe move, you could be charged for an unsafe move for careless driving. If you caused a collision, you'd be on the hook for that. But just crossing the line isn't illegal. Some provinces it is. Ontario, it's not. Okay. What is this? Someone wants to know tips for POPAT. What is POPAT? Another acronym. Oop, that's it. Peace Officers Physical Ability Test. I've never heard it called that. So I don't know if is that an Ontario thing or is that outside? Because I don't know if that's Abby. Is this for a specific province? Is it the who does this? It looks very similar to what we do. So maybe this is AB. What is this? All right, I don't know who does it, but just in general, because it looks very similar to what we had to do. The deal is that you just need to keep working at it. If you can't pass the run, focus on running. What I did to pass the shuttle run, which is the worst thing in the world, the beep test. If you haven't seen it or haven't hated it, you haven't lived. It is really miserable, and especially I'm a big guy. I'm 6'5", 300 pounds. It's not fun, and I should say it never will be fun for me. It's hard on the knees. You have to change direction if it's shuttle run specific. So I trained for it. I specifically trained to beat that test, not to be a marathon runner. Also, not something I'm going to be doing, but yeah, you can train for it. I got a 20-meter. And is the shuttle run part of it? It's VO2 max that you're trying to build up. Big Jeff Fresh says, "Have a good rest of your day and hope the kiddo feels better soon. I'm going to get back to finally watching Mandalorian." What? You're just watching Mandalorian for the first time? Like season 1? Oh my God, you're in for a ride. It's the best cowboy show with laser guns ever made. I just really enjoy it. I watched it with my kids when they first came out. It was great. Failed the beep test by 30 seconds. I was so upset. I'm sorry. That is terrible. That is terrible. I did pass it. I did some practice tests and I failed. And then when I actually did it for real, I passed it. First shot. Can I use my phone to pay for items in a drive-through? Yes. The Highway Traffic Act for that charge doesn't apply on private property. So, or I should say that charge doesn't apply on private property where certain charges do, like stunt driving. Would everyone have to slow down on the 401 bad storm hit? Yeah, you should always slow down in low visibility, poor road conditions. Everyone should slow down, especially with low visibility. We had people who were driving just silly like during the fog that was last week or the week before, and the deal is that they were getting into crashes because they were driving faster than they could see and respond. You have to be able to be going at a speed that you can safely respond and appropriately brake to changes in the future you were driving into. So the moment you see something, if it's 4 feet from the front of your car, you're going to hit it if you're doing 100 kilometers an hour. That is like the worst game of Russian roulette. Because you'd just be continuously pulling the trigger. Just a matter of when. Slowing down is required, yeah. How long does the Crown have to prosecute a ticket? So it used to say that you had to have it was a reasonable amount of time before people started putting in their 11B applications, suggesting that it was unreasonable. It used to be a year. I believe they extended it to 2 years now due to COVID, and I don't know if there were further exemptions or stretches since then. It's not just something that disappears if they don't deal with it fast enough. You would have to make an application suggesting that it was too long. Can you explain police entrapment? I would love to give you the Sean version of explanation, and because I can't give you a dictionary definition. But the best way that I can describe it is if the police put you in a situation where you break the law, that you were not going to break the law, but they induced the breaking of said law and then arrested you for it. So if I said to you as a guy who's undercover, with a racing fans, I don't know, an Isuzu. Is it an Isuzu? Not an Isuzu. What is that thing? I don't know. I'm not a car racing guy. But let's say I had a fast car and I met up with you at the Timmy's and said, "Hey, I'll race you for ownership. We'll race." And first one to get the finish line down there, you have to do it a $1.50 to get there. You're going to lose. Okay, I'm going way too crappy with the story. If I tell you that if we race illegally, then and I challenge you to a race and then I arrest you for racing me, that would be entrapment. If I ask you to go sell someone drugs and I give you the drugs to go sell, and then I arrest you for selling drugs to somebody, that would be entrapment. But speed traps are not entrapment, even though the word trap is used in it. I hope I gave a reasonable explanation that makes sense to you. But essentially, many people think that running radar is a form of entrapment. Like if we're hiding, we're making you speed. No, you should never speed. You should assume that we're always watching and never break the law because you're choosing to do it. We've not induced or encouraged you to break the law. Radar or LiDAR, I prefer LiDAR myself. The fact is that LiDAR is like magic. It's there's a scope. You're looking at a specific vehicle. You're confirming the your observations, and how do you know you hit it? Because you hit it, because you're looking at it. When you're talking about radar, it needs more skill. Radar is amazing. It does some fantastic stuff. Like you can't do LiDAR, which is laser. I don't know why they call it LiDAR. It's like radar with lasers. It's not the same thing. It's a laser speed measurement device, and radar it just works differently. You have to make more observations. You have to be able to understand the inner workings and explain the Doppler effect, and be able to in court say more to justify your decision as to why that person was the person that you pulled over, whereas LiDAR is just a little more simple. But you can't, I don't think there's moving LiDAR. I think it's, whereas radar, I can get you while I'm moving. I can drive behind you and measure with my radar, in-car radar. So I like both, but for different reasons, at different times. Is it my right to refuse police to search my car? Well, under certain circumstances, yes, but under certain circumstances, no. See, I didn't say depends. I've been saying depends a lot. Anyway, if I ask you if I can search your car, it's your right to say no. If I have arrested you and I'm making a search subsequent to arrest, it's not your right to refuse. If I'm searching because I see things in plain sight, I see drugs there, and that once I confirm that I got drugs or weapons or whatever, then I can search further. It depends. I said depends. God, I said depends. Yeah, it depends. If we have authority under law, then it's not up for you. It's just like you can't refuse to be arrested. We're arresting you. It's not up to you. I don't really feel like being arrested today. Could you come back tomorrow? That doesn't work that way. But it is amusing. Does cops chase a person if they're doing 170? Yeah, we pull people over for that. We've had people go over 200. We've stopped people for 300. You can't go 300 very far. You can't go 170 very far. Eventually, you have to turn, get off the highway, stop. People have to slow down. Sometimes they crash, but usually it's because they've slowed down. We also have other cars and this magical thing called a radio, and we also have cell phones and computers, and we're all GPS tracked, and we can figure out where you're going. We can meet you at your house and wait for you. There's so many things we can do, but we don't just say, "Oh, he's going too fast." Another speeder. What? Oh yeah, no. There's no magic speed where we just avoid pulling you over because we're too lazy. We actually like taking your car because you are a menace to society if you're doing 170. Okay. Where was this? When there's a stop by police, can they turn off blinking high beams at night? It gets difficult to drive for oncoming vehicles. You shouldn't be an oncoming vehicle. If we have our lights and sirens on, you should be pulling over and stopping. At which point it's less of an issue. If you're trying to drive when we're driving, we don't disable our emergency equipment. We need all of it to be seen at 360 degrees. But I appreciate what you're saying. We don't disable the flashing headlights or have only a spattering of lights in certain directions. How can radar target one car on a multi-lane highway? Radar again isn't something that is used by all. It's for specific officers who have been trained to use radar versus laser, which has many, many more officers who are qualified to use it. It's based on observations. It picks the largest, fastest vehicle. So it's fastest vehicle, and then it's the largest as a secondary. So you have to make observations. It doesn't target one vehicle. It measures and gives you a specific speed, and you need to articulate how that works as the officer who's trained to use it. What is this? Is it illegal to drive an electric scooter on the street? Actually, if you're in Toronto, it's illegal to drive an electric scooter on the street, on the sidewalk, in a park, anywhere. Actually, an electric kick scooter, I should specify. They're only permitted on private property in Toronto. Certain jurisdictions allow them. If you're talking about an electric scooter and you are actually talking about an e-bike, then yes, you can, as long as it's a legal e-bike, one that conforms to the legislation, which means it has to have, it can be capable of going no faster than 32 kilometers on a flat surface. It can have no more than a 500-watt motor, and it cannot weigh more than 120 kilos. You also have to do other things like wear a helmet, etc. Okay. Oh, when you said, sorry, Gershwag, I hope I said your name right. When you mean after we've pulled someone over, can we turn off the blinking high beams? Yeah, we can do that. But if it's a high stress situation, sometimes I don't. I thought you meant when someone's driving somewhere. So if I didn't mean to be quite as condescending as I may have come off. Dylan wants to know if I like donuts. I think that if anyone tells you that they don't like donuts, they're probably lying. So I do like donuts. I don't need donuts to survive, though. So I will generally not have donuts. But there is one particular donut I like. It's a Krispy Kreme, raspberry filled. I like that donut a lot. And so rarely do I actually come across a Krispy Kreme that when I do find a Krispy Kreme, I will partake in said donut. Okay, Gershwag. So I did get. Wait, are you saying I'm right that I pronounced your name correctly, or were you right when you're talking about after we pulled over a vehicle and we just pulled over? Either way, I'm glad that I figured out what you're actually mentioning or trying to ask me. Okay. Question about at what age is a child allowed without a car seat? Age, weight, or height. One of three. Any one of the three works for meeting the requirements. It's not necessarily the safest thing, but it is what is required by law before a child can get out of a car seat, booster seat, etc. And that is 8 years old, 80 pounds, or 4'9" in height. Now, someone could be 8 and very short, and that wouldn't be a good idea, but it would be legal. 80 pounds. 80 pounds would be the right weight, but they could be both very young and very short. Really, you should check out the CIPSAC.org website, and what that will give you is some other tests. It's a 5-point safety test talking about where in relation to how long their legs are, do they bend at the right place. These are things that are good. That not just they're good in addition to being if you meet those, it's safer, not just meeting one of the criteria. What's the highest sum of tickets you've given? I don't know. I don't do this kind of accounting. I've given some tickets as a single one. Cell phones, $615, and I used to give those out like candy because there's so many people who are using their cell phones when they're driving, and they shouldn't be. What is this? Someone asking if I'd like them to go away. No. I'd like people to stop spamming, but I think you've already done that. And we talked about funeral escorts, by the way. If you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, police stuff, donuts on occasion, recruiting on occasion. We talk about anything. What is this? Okay. I'm a female military veteran and wonder if it's what's the second part of the question? Different for somebody with military background. Are we talking about applying? What are we talking about here? Can we go over the hiring process? If you go to www.tps.ca, we can talk about, or that would be www.tps.ca/careers would be the best place to get information about the hiring process. If you're looking to speak to a recruiter, and there are some fantastic ones, not only from Toronto Police, but from police services around the province, they're coming to a recruitment fair being held at the Toronto Police College on the 26th of November. That's being done or hosted by us. And you can register for that event at tps.ca/ did I say it right? tps.ca/careers. I've said it so many times in the last few seconds that I've just lost it. Oh no, we got, what is this? Okay, So talk to them. They're the best source of information, but you got to book by the 16th to get to that event. The process is essentially once you get your OACP certificate, which requires academic and physical testing. Once you do that, you can go get an interview. Once you have an interview, if you're offered a job, you could, find yourself in front of a doctor for a psychological background. But it's a long process, and we are looking to hire people, so this is a good time. Why is it not mandatory to have winter tires for the season in Ontario? Lawmakers haven't made it legal. They haven't made it requirement. Would I love to see that? Sure. I have winter tires. I'm mandated by my wife to have winter tires. I never had winter tires until we had kids, and then she told me you will have winter tires because you want to protect our kids. And I don't know how I've lived so long without winter tires. Like I had all seasons, or so I thought. I've learned a lot about tires since then, and really they're not all seasons. They're most seasons, and the best thing you can have, in my opinion, and what I do for myself is use winter tires because they reduce your chances, or I should say, they increase your chances of having good traction in cold weather and snow. It's not a snow tire; it's a winter tire. It's about temperature and having a compound that allows it to maintain a softer composition for the cold weather because tires that are not made for the cold get hard and then they don't work very well, or at least not work as the same. I see that Bryce. I don't know if Bryce is watching, but I saw Bryce's text. If he's watching, hi Bryce. What motto do you live by? Oh, I don't know. Do I have a motto? Maybe it is what it is. I'm not sure. I have a lot of things that I like. A lot of great things. My grandfather used to say, "Do what you can do." He just meant like do as much as you can do to help people as possible. So I like that. But I haven't got a motto that I just say all the time. Unless it's whether you walk, ride, or drive, you should be following our channel because we talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff too. That I say a lot too. Okay. What do we have? Questions? I'm a 911 comms student. Thank you for your service. Well, thank you for joining our profession. Comms are amazing. We need more comms. Comms is very difficult, so good luck in your career. But thank you for the thank you. Favorite, underglow, which color is legal? I really don't think you should have underglow, but as long as it's installed properly and the bulbs aren't visible, it's not really an issue that I would worry about. It is a problem if you're like directly outward. If it's just down and we're seeing the reflection off the ground, I don't see much of a problem. I would, however, avoid red, blue, and green. What we got? I saw something. That's what it was. Favorite TV show? I like cop shows. You'd think I'd get enough of cop stuff being a cop. And it's not because I'm off the road that I have to live vicariously through cop shows. I've always liked cop shows. I used to really like, what was it called? I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine because it's funny as all get out. I like Blue Bloods. I like The Rookie. Rookie Feds is it's a little too funny. What else do I like? I like, I'm watching Manifest thanks to Sergeant Kulik, who essentially took away an hour a night of my sleep because she told me to watch it on Netflix. Very, very cool. I'm in season 2. Soon to be season 3. But I like, oh boy, there's a lot. I like good television. It's not a matter of my favorite show. I like good television. Okay, favorite show of all time though, probably Chips. Like since I was a kid, it's what motivated me to become a police officer. Can you have NOS in your car? You cannot have a connected, ready to deploy NOS system in your car. You can have the fittings installed, but you can't attach a tank. You can have a full tank in your car as long as it's not attached to the system. You can have an empty tank attached to the system for looks. You don't need NOS. Why did the Toronto Police Service change the color of police cars? The chief at the time decided to change the police cars, as far as I know. I don't think it was a long thought out, we're going to make it more visible, less visible. I think he just liked the look of a cooler car. Everyone wants to leave their stamp on things. And I like the car the way it looks now. Mind you, I didn't dislike it before, but I like it now. It sounds like I didn't like it, but I did. I like them both. How long have you been a police officer? Well, let's go back. I've been a member of the police service since 2000, so we're in 22nd year. I started as a police auxiliary volunteer and a court officer in the same year in 2000. Excuse me. What a time. And then in 2012, I went from being an auxiliary sergeant and a supervisor with court services. I traded 2 uniforms and became a police officer. So I've been a police officer for 10 years. Okay. Can chicken lights be any color other? What are chicken lights? I don't even know what chicken lights are. Can you apply with if you take psychiatric medication? That would be up for a doctor to determine if you're fit for duty. So if they would sign off and say you are good, do I smoke pot? Absolutely not. I think that stuff stinks. Like I don't like the smell. Can I smoke pot? Yeah, it's legal. And if I were to wait the appropriate amount of time, which I don't know, because there's a period of time for police officers, we have to wait longer if we've consumed. I don't know anybody who smokes pot. But I really don't like the smell. So, it's the same person who's asking. Do I smoke pot? And do I smoke pot myself? And yeah, no. Oh, you really want to answer that question's like every 3 questions is that question. Can cars shoot flames? Not legally. And I got some great videos sent to me of a car that was just spraying flames. Looked like something from a war zone. And it's not legal. That'd be an unsafe vehicle. I'd pull the license plates. Is pulling to the left side of the road bad? You mean like pulling over like on a divided highway, pulling over when you see police lights? Sometimes it's the safest and quickest way to go. And the rules say closest edge of roadway. So you'd be complying with the law if you were on a multi-lane highway and you pulled to the center. If you pulled to the left, which would be the center of the total roadway, but left of the lane set that you're in. What do we have here? Second warning for speed. What if I get again? I don't know. If I've given you a warning, I document it, and I pull you over again, I see the warning, and I don't know why anyone would give you another warning. But I don't give warnings for speed. I give tickets. Oh, I see. Chicken lights are clearance lights for tractor trailers. I think they're only supposed to be amber or orange, as you said. But I've seen them in other colors, and I don't think they should be. Can I get a ticket for turning second lane, no first? Second lane, no first. Do you mean like there's 2 right turn lanes and you're turning from one of the 2 right turn lanes on a red? You can do that. But if you're in a straight through lane and you make a right turn, it's an improper turn, so you could get a ticket. Tanvir says, I was in an at-fault collision in Mississauga, and the person's address was in Windsor, but his broker is in Mississauga. I believe he works in Mississauga, and he was very hesitant when I asked him if he lives in Mississauga area. I believe he's living in Mississauga, but on a Windsor address for cheaper insurance. What can I do? I believe he's doing insurance fraud. Well, you can certainly let the police know if you were involved in that investigation, but it would be up for them to lay charges. So you could let them know. You could also notify your insurance if you're involved in that and see what they say. But your belief may or may not be correct, and but it'll involve them doing the investigation. But I appreciate your concern because insurance fraud is wrong. Where else do you stream? Like, what other platforms am I streaming? Currently streaming on Instagram Live, TikTok Live, obviously because you're on TikTok. I'm currently also on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Although Twitter people can't talk to us, everybody else can. It's so cool. What is this? I got a ticket for pulling left when in the left lane. On a multi-lane highway? When the police pulled you over? That's ridiculous. Or was it? I don't understand. That's breaking my brain. I don't. Yeah, I'd need to know more. But why? What was? I don't get it. If they pulled you over and you pulled to the left, how do they give you a ticket for complying with the rules under law? Angela, long time no talk. Hello, you're at home today. I am at home today. Although that's a green screen behind me. Angela's seeing me on YouTube, so she doesn't see that it's actually green on all the other platforms. It's actually green. I just happened to have it. I forgot I even had it set up for this here. Is it legal to go through a red light if the sirens are behind you? And the answer is it's not legal to go through a red light. You can only make a right turn on red as you're legally permitted to if you had to get out of the way. But chances are you shouldn't have to get out of the way because we would more likely go out and into oncoming traffic to get around stop traffic. That would be the thing most most likely to be done. Are you strict towards pedal bikers' laws? I'm strict on all laws. I stop cyclists. I stop motor vehicles. To me, it's one set of laws. It's just a difference of who's breaking them. I write tickets for whoever breaks the law in front of me. I don't discriminate. I also don't target one over the other. What are your entry level officers paid? I believe as a cadet you're paid 60. Why am I going to guess when I could just look it up? And you can look it up too at tps.ca/careers. It's all listed there, as well as access to booking an opportunity to go to our recruitment fair. And what information would you get there? Well, you'd have access to recruiters from all different police services. I should say all, many police services in the province of Ontario. So, specifically to answer, where'd it go? A cadet in training. That's actually higher than I thought it was. A cadet in training. So when you're trained for the first 3 or 6 months, 6 months, we'll say 6 months, it might be less. $67,680. When you graduate the police college, you go up immediately. Once you're made a fourth class constable, you graduate, you get your badge and your gun, $75,218. 14 months later, I think it is, you go up to $85,000, becoming a third class constable, $85,971. Second class constable the next year is $96,716. And after you get to the first class constable status, $107,456. And Jace says, he caught me say depends for the first time today. I said it 760 times yesterday. Is it legal if I wrap my truck in Christmas lights? You can't have any blinking red lights. You can't shine anything to the back other than red or amber. You can't have anything forward facing that is other than white or amber. You cannot have, there's a lot of restrictions. So, but if you have some, if they're not flashing red light anywhere, or if it's intermittent, would be illegal. So there's a bunch of things you have to be concerned about. I think if you did it tastefully and they were very low voltage, not projecting light, I think you could probably be okay. What am I saying here? The Big Mac, what is it? The Big Mark D. What's going on? You're in the wrong line. Is that based on the hearing the salaries of police officers? You know what? It's a risky job. It's an often dirty job in terms of being involved in. I don't know how many times I've had to like bag all my clothing because of going into an environment that has bed bugs. It's not a simple clean desk job, and you're very often paid for what you might have to do, not just what you did every day. Like, there's some you may not come home at all. Right? My buddy was killed, literally murdered. He didn't go home. So. I haven't. It's amazing the flood of thoughts and memories when I talk about that. Okay. Yeah. Angela's been here for 10 seconds. She's reminding me to hydrate. I love it. Yes. Thank you. Angela, the one there is a nicer office because it's not mine. I think it's like a Florida. There's a pool in the back. That's awesome. But it's just a green screen picture that came stock with the app. Too funny. Is it illegal to play siren sounds while driving? It's illegal to have a siren capable of playing siren sounds. What is this? Can I drive in the States with just my license? If you have a license, you can drive in the States with your license. Whatever conditions are on your license. Now, that's not including a learner's permit. You can't have a G1 of you in the States, but you could with a G2. What do we got here? And do you need a passport? I don't know what their entry into the country requirements are, but in terms of ground, it used to be just driver's license to cross the border. It may have changed. You'd need to check with them what the requirements are. Are co-op spots opened in the Toronto Police? I recently looked into this because a friend of mine, Sean, who's a different Sean, not me, Sean, a different Sean, who's a regular contributor and viewer, wanted to be, he was looking for a spot, and he's a high school student. So I found out that we don't take high school students for co-op, what we do for college students. So Faisal, if that's something you're interested in, talk to our employment or what is it? What is it? Employment unit? I think it's employment unit that handles it. There is something though for summer students. If you're depending on where you live, you might be eligible for the YIPPY program, Youth and Policing Program. It's different than co-op, but it's still good. So Lily, who got pulled over on the 401, and you got a ticket for what was that ticket? Like, that's so weird. I would challenge that ticket, quite honestly. I don't think that charge is appropriate because it's the closest edge of roadway. If it's a divided highway, obviously pulling into the middle of the road, if it was an undivided highway, would be unsafe. But if there was a shoulder there and you pulled, anyway, you might want to get some legal advice on that. If I capture bad driving on a dash cam, can I report it? If you're in the city of Toronto, you can certainly report it online by going to www.tps.ca, and on there you can find a link to our core citizen online report entry. If you had video of something really nasty, you certainly could submit a video. You could, Dropbox us with a link or YouTube it, and that works. It would be investigated. Someone would look at it. And if we have enough information, like you're the complainant, you know the date and time, you have the description of the driver and the vehicle, that could actually result in charges. But if you're just talking about they're bad drivers, like they didn't make a good turn, but they still turned safely, don't waste your time with that. But if they're doing bad stuff, heck, if they're doing something that could lead to imminent danger right then on the road, call police, call 911. If they're putting risk to others on the road at that moment, that's worthy of a call to police. I don't know what this is. More acronyms. Yeah, I can't figure the acronym. We talked about minimum requirement for child to sit in the front seat already. Can you drive with only one eye? I think you can. I don't know. I think you can. You have to pass the physical, whatever the eye test is for the driving requirements. But I don't, because with your ability to for depth perception. But I don't know if that is. Again, I don't know, and I've never run into an issue. I would assume that you could, but let's find out. Let's find out together. We're going to find out. Driving with one eye in Toronto or in Ontario. If you have vision in one eye, your vision will be screened using your functioning eye. The screening check will be... So apparently you can. As long as it's not poorer than 20/50. There you have it. I learned something. I've never looked it up. Is there work for engineers with the police? I imagine there would be. We have all sorts of folks in different departments, computer engineers and of the like. We have lots of different civilian jobs. Check it out. Check out our employment page. There's lots of stuff that comes by. And I imagine someone with your skills and abilities would find a place with us and find value. Plus, we're a great place to work. What is this? Can you speed if you're going to the hospital? I have made many videos and I say no. Yeah, there's no lawful exemption for a civilian to speed. If you need to go to the hospital, call 911. And for the people who are saying, but it's so expensive and I live in a rural community and it takes me an hour, drive safely and don't speed. If you cause a collision or you run off the road or you lose control because you yourself need to go to the hospital and you're bleeding out, you're going to be in a worse situation than if you would have called ambulance. And 100 years ago, and I'm using 100 years ago because it's easy to say 100, but when you called ambulance, it wasn't advanced life support. It wasn't advanced medical care. It was first aid. And forgive me if you're a paramedic and I'm wrong, please let me know. But it wasn't people who, they were transporting you to the hospital, yeah, and there was minimal stuff they could do 100 years ago. But now paramedics are advanced life support. They are doing stuff to keep you alive long enough to get you to the hospital, and so the medical treatment starts the moment they touch you, right? They're preserving life and getting you to a doctor to do the heavy lifting, but they're doing a lot of stuff for you. So you're giving up on that by not. by just taking matters in your own hands and driving yourself or somebody else to the hospital. Yourself, especially being in control of a car if you were bleeding or having in an emergency situation is just a bad idea. And I hate to say it this way, but a very long time ago, I'm going to say roughly 22 years ago, a woman came into our police station, the traffic services, which was then on Strawn, and said, I was driving home with my husband. He was in the car following me. I got home. He didn't. I'm worried. Turns out he pulled over to the side of the road when he had a heart attack and he died. And he did that because he knew that if he didn't pull over, he would hurt somebody else. So he chose to pull over and he put his vehicle into park. And then at some point thereafter, he died. But he did it, and I kudos to him because he's truly a hero because he could have killed people if he lost control having a heart attack on the road. But that's because he was an experienced driver and he did the right thing. So kudos to truckers and professional operators who do the right thing. J3W1310 says, what if someone was chasing you? Call 911. Cell phone. Call 911. How do you know they're chasing you? And if they're chasing you, what are they going to do to you? If they're ramming you, we're talking movie magic. Every situation is going to be different. Are you breaking the law? Could you be held responsible? Hopefully you'd be going to a police station, but I would be doing my best not to speed, not to drive in a dangerous way. Obviously, if you're being rammed and someone's shooting at you and, this is something out of Lethal Weapon, you're going to do what you're going to do and you're going to get your lumps later if it goes that way. But the biggest concern I have, aside from breaking the law, is putting lives at risk. Angela says she was a former St. John's ambulance technician, and I'm right about transporting people in advanced medical care. Thank you. Appreciate it. Is it illegal to hurt a cop's ego? Example, swearing. I imagine if you swear, you're probably going to get sworn back at. I don't know. Some people don't understand it unless you speak to them in a certain way. But is it against the law to swear to give us the finger? No, I don't understand why people can't be civil. You certainly change the direction of an interaction. If I pull you over, and I'm just going to go with this example because I don't know what context you're talking about. Are you just someone who wants to swear at every police officer you meet? You may have some problems. But if you are being pulled over and you don't agree with it and you don't like it and you don't appreciate what's going on, if you choose to swear and be belligerent, chances are you're going to get every ticket and every ensure that the officer writes every piece of evidence with as much diligence and conviction as possible. I mean, if you treat me like trash, I'm going to make sure I am perfect. Every T will be crossed, every I will be dotted. If you're a nice person, you're probably going to be ticketed for the one thing you did, not the 5 things we found, and you're probably just going to have an average day. And you can go fight it in court. And it's not supposed to be an angry exchange, but so many people make it personal. And I can tell you that not everyone, like I don't care. Someone yells and screams. It's like water off a duck's back. I don't care. It doesn't bother me that someone doesn't like me. I see it in the trolls every day. There's lots of people who don't like me, but so many people try and get under the officer's skin to try and get them to say something. Chances are what they're going to say is going to be written in their evidence. Also, we have body cams. We have dash cams. When you're belligerent, you look bad. Not the officer who is just, being polite back. And sometimes you'll get the same kind of, response back. But hopefully it doesn't go there. So sad. So sad that we can't just be civil. How long for demerits to go away? Demerit points stay on your license for 2 years from the date of the offense once it enters your license. 3 years for the conviction to remain on your license history, though. Okay. Volley. I did see that pop up, actually, Jace. Volley is our community group where you can ask questions. You can send video, voice, or text. Okay. I may be wrong, but I remember reading somewhere that if you are 16 or 17 years old with a G2 license, you can drive in the States for no longer than 30 days at a time. It's different province to province because if you're saying G2 being in Ontario, G2, I've not heard that, but I don't know. And Jace says, I'm speaking for Saskatchewan. As I mentioned before, we have many small towns around here that have medical first responders out. Sorry, our first responders will administer first aid as much as possible until an ambulance can safely reach you. However, the first responders have many restrictions on what they are and aren't allowed to do before the ambulance gets there, including not being allowed to administer drugs. Oh yeah, for sure. They can only do what they can do, but it's still better than trying to get there when you can't. You know, if you yourself are needing medical care, it's bad idea. Okay, why is e-scooter illegal but people still ride and sell? E-scooter, if you mean e-kick scooter, they're legal in certain areas, but not in Toronto. So every municipality was given the option of opting into the pilot, but they're not illegal. They're illegal for use in certain places. If you're talking about e-scooter being in an e-bike that looks like a scooter, it's not illegal as long as it conforms to the law. Everything depends. I said depends. Okay. Is 42 too old to pursue a career in police officer? No. Somebody in my class was 50. I was 38 when I went over from being a court officer to a police officer. If you can pass the test, if you can do it, and it's your dream, do it. I totally support you to do that. You bring life experience that others won't have, so I would totally support you doing that. All right. I realize I've gone way longer than I thought. I'm approaching an hour and a half online. I lost the link to see available careers. Check out www.tps.ca/careers. TPS.ca, easy peasy. Toronto Police Service is TPS, TPS.ca. Apparently, I'm really running out of steam. Do you think the widespread hate of cops is fair? Well, obviously not. The widespread hate of anybody is ridiculous. Judging a group of people based on a personal experience or the misinformation being shared or a particular news story, it's asinine. You know what? People who wear a uniform don't get up every day and go to work to be hated. They don't get up. They go to work to help people. And it's disheartening when people turn around and assume you're not a good person because you are there to enforce laws because they don't agree with laws. It's just bad. It's no different. If you hate police, in my opinion, it's no different than being racist. I'm sorry. We are a people being identified by a uniform. No different than someone who's being identified by the color of their skin or their race or religion. It's hating people for a thing. It's terrible. And what's really terrible, I see people who hate particular police more than others. So if someone dislikes black police over white police, that is also acceptable. Just racism and hate in general, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's disgusting. Yeah. Really bugs me. Okay. Jay says, I would absolutely work for a police service if my car wasn't illegal. Otherwise, I would just get tickets for going to work. Jace, what are you telling me? You have an illegal car? I thought that was a track car. Okay. I am. I want to pick one last question. What do we got here? If I go over the sound limit, double more a ticket? Are we talking about sound or like the speed of sound? Yeah, if you go too fast, you end up getting arrested for dangerous driving. The next level, even beyond that of stunt driving. Imagine you can get stunt and still get arrested for dangerous. Why not? We'll throw the book at you. If you mean noise, it's just noise. You get charged for that. Tinted passenger windows, okay. If you mean the rear windows behind the driver, yes, you can tint those. You can black them out. They don't need to be visible, like transparent at all. The windows that do need to have visibility, the ones left and right of the driver in your windshield. You can't have any tint on in your windshield. You cannot have windows that, what is the word I'm looking for? Obscure the interior of your motor vehicle. If I can't see in, you're breaking the law. There's a charge for that. All right, and with that, we finish yet another episode of Ask a Traffic Cop. It has been a slice. I'm going to go see how my kid is doing, see if she needs more Tylenol, because she is under the weather, which is why I'm in front of a green screen and not the studio at work. But it has been a slice. I appreciate you spending time with me. If you don't follow us, please do. And I hope to be back in the office tomorrow at 10 a.m. Well, not at 10 a.m. I'll be there at 6 a.m., but 10 a.m. live with you for Friday, because Friday is the best day. Isn't it Friday? Tomorrow's Friday. All right. Have a good one.